How are we going to win this war and survive it at the same time if our enemy is genocidal and suicidal? Like, I often think of the devil as the rejected brother of Jesus. Like, if there is some kind of real, tangible evil in this world, it would be the embodiment of the opposite, whatever Jesus was. So could it be a person still walking the earth? Hey. Do I trust our time scale? Do I trust our linear history? No, I don't. But how will I know? So, can we go back and chase genealogy to the first man? I don't believe so. Smartest man in the world upset quite a few people yesterday when he said that Ashkenazi are white. And I guess you have to ask yourself what Ashkenazi is and what white is. But I'm going to switch gears and jump ahead. If certain white nationalists have it their way, they'll kill everybody that has Jew blood in them. Now, will it come to that? I don't know. Is it on the table? I don't know. But there are people out there that hate a bloodline so much that they'd be happy to see everybody that possesses it wiped from the planet. And so I asked a friend of mine, I said, a lot of National Socialists and whites and others have said that there's a problem with Christianity in that it is so forgiving and so tolerant. And that even on the worst day, under the worst violence, under the worst calamity, Christians would still help. Christians would still help. Okay? So the question I asked a friend was, if there are Nazis chasing down Jews for real this time, and they're wiping them out, and somebody that identifies with as a Christian stands up and says, no, I get where you guys are coming from, and you're right for all that anger, and that tribe has definitely worked together to do some really criminal shit, but you can't slaughter children. You cannot slaughter children on my watch. I don't care what blood they have in them. I believe that God made us all, and we may be different tribes, but we are not here to decimate and destroy other tribes. We can drive them out, and we can disassociate. But maybe this Christian says, I believe they're all my brothers, and maybe I'm allowed to cast out a brother and to maybe even punish a brother for a transgression, but I do not slaughter my brother. I remember Cain and Abel. Well, then would those Nazis have to start killing Christians? So Langen's argument is that, I don't know, I don't want to speak for him, and I talked to somebody for a long time to get clarification, so bear with me. But it seems like my observation is that Mr. Langen's argument is that the Jews are so fucked up in their tribal allegiance and religious cult practices and perpetuation of genetic mental illness that when push comes to shove and the whites that they are targeting that greatly outnumber them finally toss down the gauntlet, the Jews are going to get backed into a corner and pull the Samson option. And they have no problem killing themselves, because what is the opposite of Christ consciousness but self-destructive, self-loathing suicide? To fulfill their covenant, they have no problem killing themselves, because that's how, I don't even want to get into their fucking beliefs, right? But the point that I'm getting at is, it sounded like Mr. Langen was making a warning. It doesn't sound like it. He was a very loud. Why is he talking about this? Do you really think that he gives a fuck what anybody thinks? Do you really think that he's out there to nilly-nally and argue and bicker with random dipshits on Gab? Really? No, he's not. He is trying to move the chessboard forward. If you listen to any of his doctrine and any of his teachings, he says, you know, we create reality. That's what he's doing. He's trying to create a strategy. You know, he's trying to move the piece forward. He sees victory. He's trying to sync up with that path to it, trying to actualize. He's not there to kiss your ass. He's certainly not there to be popular. People, boy, I tell you what. So why say this at all? Because I think that he's working on something that I'm working on. Some kind of solution that saves and helps people and enacts God's will and makes me a good vessel for what I believe is righteous in God's eye and true. I hope. You know, I need to maintain humility at all times. But I cannot believe that it is my task to sit here and be idle. I cannot believe that it is my job to just simply be an observer. And I don't believe that God gave me power just to give it back to him and then nothing happens. Like, why give me an education if you're not going to test me? Maybe I'm stubborn and trapped in some third dimensional way of thinking. But I want to jump ahead to the solution because I'm tired of the fucking problem. And the solution at one time was National Socialism. And it was, fuck, go back far enough, it was Crusades, you know? The solution was stepping on a serpent with a heel, you know? But what is the solution now? Has it changed as the world has changed? Yeah, it has. In going backwards. The solution, I think, and I've been saying, is Lingua Franca, language. We have to identify what things are and what their values are and generate our plan, our reality, our function on that. Like, the Jews are taking away our vocabulary and they're changing the words and they're bastardizing things and they're eliminating our history and they're fucking up our literature. Don't you see? It doesn't matter if we are white, National Socialists, Nazis, Crusaders, Christian identity, whatever. It doesn't matter. If the Jews have control in the language and at any time can change what any of those words mean. So yes, I'm all for advocating for white. I absolutely believe in National Socialism. I believe in a republic. I believe in the teachings of Christ. But what do we need now? More than we need troops, more than we need bombs, more than we need politicians, more than we need a party. We need a language that we, whoever that's left, the goyim, the opposition, the objective, the outliers, the gentiles, the innocent, the departed, whoever, they need a language. They need that language is the thing that bonds them. And we need to define that language. And it needs to be about things that are of value for... I'm going to get into Aquinas, and I don't want to because I'm not an expert. But I'll take it down a step here and say that I have an idea of what a triangle is. You have an idea of what a triangle is. Another person's going to have a different idea. Is there a perfect version of a triangle? That's God's version. Am I able to understand God's version of a triangle? No. I'm not God. But I can spend whatever He gave me marveling, trying to just accept whatever God's triangle is and live with that triangle in my heart, knowing that I'll never see it truly for what it is, because I am immaculate, I am flawed, and God made me to work through that, to be so pure that upon the end of my life, maybe I can glimpse the infinite serene. Maybe I can glimpse the immaculate glory, but I will never do it now like this because I am so materially bonded. I'm a product of this evil, corrupted world, and whether I'm Ashkenazi or Aryan or white or Timbuktu, God put me here and he put me in front of a problem, and I'm trying to address that problem, and I think that that problem is solved with language. I don't want to go too long because I know that I'm all over the place and these things don't make sense. But in the Tower of Babel, it said that they were to make all of their, anything they could imagine come true, and then God destroyed that. Well, we have reached that point where we're able to, through artificial means, to create anything. But is it real? No. And God does not want us worshiping the false. So he's going to crush the Tower of Babel. That means everybody will be speaking in foreign different tongues. Try to understand that metaphor, but you can get the basics, right? If nobody can communicate with anybody, then things are going to be a lot different. So how will we communicate? The same way that we communicate with ourselves when we're born and when we're asleep and in our private times. The same way you communicate with your children or a loved one. You know, it is not about these words that we use. It is about developing the senses that we were given. Like, how the fuck can I marvel at a bee and a flower in the majestic sunset if I am fucking talking about it? How can I understand the biorhythm and the smells and the tactile feelings of my loved one if I am reciting poetry at exactly the same moment? There is a time and a place, and language is a construct, same as a painting is a construct, same as stacking up bricks is a construct. But if we focus our existence and our minds and line up our soul and our will, everything that we are, with this fucking broke dick, gobbledygook, black magic, sigil language, then we're fucking tools. It doesn't matter if we're Ashkenazi, white, Nazis, national, it doesn't matter. Because fuck the Jews. My problem's with all sin and all evil and the devil would gladly have me kill the Jews, every one of them, as long as I'm still speaking his language and living in his reality. So, do we need to stop the Jews? I think that if we develop our language and start to communicate and hold true and identify and start generating the garden, or not generating it, but actualizing it and moving towards it, in that line, then the fucking Jews will starve themselves to death. And the ones that don't starve will eat each other, and then you'll have the king rat in the barrel scenario. And when the king rat pops up, we'll all know how to react. But if we're to rid ourselves of the evil that has plagued us, it cannot be a single race, because that's too close-minded and nearsighted. Like, if we get rid of Jews and all of their occupations and all of their institutions and all of their tactics and all of their mysticism, then doesn't that mean that white people could still rob white people, that Mexicans could still kill Mexicans, that blacks could still cheat blacks? Yes, they could. Because there's the perpetual Jew in all of us. That's sin. To think that only a race of people possesses sin is the ultimate pride. Welcome, you are a member of Lucifer's army. I have sin in me. My aspiration is not to destroy the people that possess the same sin, but to reject that sin all out. Now ask me if I'm crewing up. You better believe I'm crewing up. Because if violence is coming in this material world that is inside, outside, trapped in, beyond, whatever, the metaphysical, spiritual world, I am still bound here. I still have to suck air. I still have to take a shit. I still have to eat food. And if a bunch of fucking invaders, hordes, monsters, child molesters, abominations come over the hill with spears and fire, then what am I gonna do? Go to sleep? Start scanning fucking Facebook on a phone? No. Dude, I'm either gonna have to relocate fucking quick, or I'm gonna have to go down swinging. So, if I'm gonna go down swinging, I would sure like to be shoulder to shoulder with guys that share that sentiment. Because if I'm to die, I want to die doing what I was sent here to do, and it sure as fuck wasn't observe. It was to act out God's will on earth as a lowly single-bit vessel. To be as straw. I am not the champion that will save us, and I never aspired to be. I am simply the disposable, cheap material that blankets the ground so that that presence can be known in this cold, hard world. Maybe a strand of me will be taken with upon the Majestic's passing. I love you guys. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm swimming in it right now. But I'm also collaborating. I'm reaching. It's difficult. I have socially. I'm not making excuses. It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to talk to people, but I will make the effort. If you want to talk about this, hit me up. Let me know. I love you guys. God bless.